Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairs Murphy and Feeney, members of the Financial Services Committee. My name is Jonathan Schreiber, and I'm here on behalf of the American Property Casualty Insurance Association to speak in support of S680. We also support H1182, which my colleague Christopher Stark will cover. APCA represents the writers of 75% of the property and casualty insurance sold in this state. P&C insurers protect over 4.5 million cars and 2.1 million homes in Massachusetts. They provide more than $8 billion in annual assistance and employ over 15,000 people in the state. S680 creates a regulatory framework, disclosure requirements, and consumer protections around predatory litigation lending. Predatory litigation lending is the relatively recent phenomenon of external entities, hedge funds, etc., financing civil legal action on behalf of plaintiffs in exchange for a percentage of the plaintiff's recovery. In essence, these private finance firms turn the judicial system into an investment market as an otherwise uninterested party bets on the outcome of litigation for prospective profit. The litigation financing market is largely unregulated, with financiers charging consumers rates that can reach 6 times the Massachusetts contractual usury limit of 20%. And because predatory litigation lending investors are paid first, plaintiffs who have suffered injury are often pressed to pursue riskier strategies in the hopes of higher payoffs, just to be made whole after satisfying their obligation. There are many examples of litigants netting a small fraction of winning verdicts or even owing money because of unfair financing terms. Over the last few years, large hedge funds have been generating explosive growth in this area. In 2022, the Center for Strategic and International Studies found that $3.2 billion was deployed during the year into the U.S. market by litigation financiers, a 16% increase over the previous year. Currently, there are dozens of active funders holding a combined $13.5 billion in assets under management, yet they're allowed to operate in Massachusetts today with negligible oversight. Predatory litigation lending also presents a significant threat of international interference, whereby rogue foreign actors attempt to exploit the U.S. legal system, especially in patent cases. This drives out small businesses and entrepreneurs, raises costs for consumers, and depresses innovation. This is an especially pressing issue for Massachusetts, a national leader in technology, life sciences, academia, and research hospitals. We routinely rank among the top states in patents per capita. For these reasons, we urge the committee to pass S680. Thank you for your consideration, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Chairs Murphy and Feeney, members of the committee, my name is Christopher Stark. I'm Executive Director of the Massachusetts Insurance Federation, here today to support House Bill 1182 by Leader Gregor to regulate the use of commercial predatory litigation lending practices. And we too separately echo our support for Senate Bill 680 as described by Mr. Schreiber. But what is the predatory litigation lending that we're talking about? Let's think about it in terms of sports betting, because that's really what it's becoming. Just imagine this past weekend, before you were going out to place a bet on the Bills-Pats game, before you decide your full amount of the bet, you are able to ask Coach Vrabel and Coach McDermott for their playbook. And if your contract was structured just right, you might even get to be a play caller during that game. That's exactly what these third-party litigation finance firms are doing. It's sports betting, but without any of the regulations of this chamber placed over those type of bets. Currently in the United States, TPLF use is significantly on the rise, and the United States represents 52% of the global TPLF market. In 2023, the United States GAO took a comprehensive look at third-party litigation financing and found that those financiers significantly cut into the plaintiff's recovery amount. That analysis aligns with the study by Swiss Re Institute, which estimated that plaintiff's compensation decreases by 21% relative to the same award in cases without this type of predatory litigation lending practice. H1182, unlike Senate Bill 680, which we do support, focuses primarily on the commercial litigation lending aspect. This is a key economic development issue in the Commonwealth, because some of the most frequent activity in this is by patent trolls that try to use this litigation funding to finance and, like I said before, get the discovery in all of these cases, and then collect these playbooks over and over again so they know exactly what they're walking into with every time that they're trying to place these loans. So our legislation, House Bill 1182, protects consumers. It requires that law firms tell their clients about litigation funding, and it allows clients to reject funding arrangements that could reduce their recoveries by directing money to financing firms. It also imposes a fiduciary obligation on the funder. It provides transparency. This legislation requires certain disclosures to parties and the courts as well as reporting on the litigation's funding prevalence and impact to the Division of Banking. And importantly, it protects against foreign interference. Right now, we have countries designated countries of concern by the federal government or countries that pose a critical threat to infrastructure in the Commonwealth that are able to play around in our legal system without any regulation. This bill helps to curtail that, and I will just say in closing that while we were focused because of some stakeholder interest on the commercial side of this, we are learning that on the consumer side, and to the point of perhaps Senate Bill 680 is the better vessel for this issue, is that now in the consumer side, we are seeing law firms utilize litigation funding to place consumers unknowingly on a conveyor belt of treatment that leads them to unnecessary surgeries in order to bolster bodily injury claims. This is unacceptable. This is a pro-consumer bill, and we ask this committee to move forward and help protect the consumers and our legal system. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Jonathan. Any questions, comments from members of the committee? Seeing and hearing none. Thank you for your testimony today.